Kaurego is already in the studio and well loaded for you today. Just get your pen and paper to follow the class today, and I promise you that you will enjoy every minute of your togetherness with Engineer Henry Kaurego. My name is Ugochukwu Onwe. See Engineer Henry Kaurego coming.
Greetings to you, great Ebonyans, and our EBBC family, especially Ugochukwu Onwe. Thank you for the huge support that you've been giving to us on Wealth Link radio program. And as we appreciate the Almighty God for choosing His Excellency Right Honorable Chief Francis Ogbonnanwifuru to become the governor of Ebonyi State, and to start performing this onerous task of governing Ebonyi State at this critical moment, we passionately thank Ebonyans for the massive support, especially those of you that chose to support this movement through our radio program. We really thank you. And we also want to join in celebrating the uncommon capacity, the uncommon courage and credibility, as well as the character of the person of His Excellency, Right Honorable Francis Ogbonnanwifuru, which are all consistent in his developmental and transformational approach to leadership. Nwifuru's business in politics is development, and everyone who is close to him knows about that. And that's why Ebonyi State is full of expectation. And we pray that those expectations will be exceeded by His Excellency. And we earnestly pray also for huge support from both divinity and humanity, because it is not easy to drive the wheel of progress, especially when we all expect a tremendous path of progress and prosperity for Ebonyi State. Once again, congratulations, His Excellency, and all of us, because we believe that we all contributed our quota to bring this dream to reality. Today, we will be continuing from where we stopped in the last episode. For those of us who joined the last episode, you remember we gave a lot of expose on how one can begin to do something with nothing, because a lot of people wish to have capital to start business, forgetting that the greatest capital is the human capital. And that is why we talk about human capital development. And we thank God for the Scholars Chamber of Commerce, which is already operating here in Ebonyi State at the CAS campus of Ebonyi State University. Because if you join that chamber, if you visit that chamber, you will see a lot of resource materials, resource advices, mentorship, and all of that, which will, help you to grow in your productivity, grow in your human capital, so that you'll be able to fit in. We did sound it like a note of warning that at this dispensation, it is wrong to believe that the government will do everything. It's almost impossible. Because where will you start? Ebonyi is almost numbering about 4 million people. How can a government in this very challenging time take care of 4 million persons at the same time? And so there is need for individuals who are listening to us now on this program to begin to position themselves to render partnering hands with government to draw other people and help in creating jobs, creating prosperity, creating wealth that will go around. And so that is where the Scholars Chamber of Commerce comes in. Remember, the motto of the Scholars Chamber of Commerce is bridging the gap between learning and earning. And it appears to me that in Ebonyi State, we have a lot of people who are learned. The question is, those who are learned, are they earning in commensurate with their learning? That question is very important for all of us to answer. In your learning, are you earning, in equal proportion with the volume of learning that you have acquired? And there is a problem, and that problem is most of us who also claim that we are learned may not actually be learned in the true sense of it. We may have just been certificated, because for you to prove that you are learned, you must provide the strategies that you have acquired in your learning, those strategies that can solve human problems, those strategies that can bring solution to the challenges facing us today. Of course, we know that there are so many challenges, especially the challenge of poverty, the challenge of hunger and starvation, the challenge of sickness, the challenge of insecurity. There are so many challenges. What solution can you provide based on your field of learning? And I can assure you that if you have enough strategies, enough solutions to human problems, you will be earning in accordance with your learning. And so that is why the Scholars Chamber aims at bridging that gap, because the gap is so huge. It is already a gulf. It's no longer a gap, but a gulf. Gulf in the sense that there is the distance between the institutions of learning and the marketplace is several millions of kilometers away or apart. And I give you a very simple example. Example like most of our industrialists are today not necessarily going into the institutions of learning to hire people that will work for them. I'll give you simple example, like in my own field, the engineering profession. How many mechanical engineers can actually solve the problems of mechanical engineering in Innocent Motors? Innocent, where vehicles are manufactured. How many graduates of mechanical engineers, how many first-class materials from our universities can comfortably fit into that very industry? You discover that it's almost none, because I am very sure that most of the people who are doing the wonders there are from the mechanic villages. All the owner of that company can do will be to select good hands from the mechanic villages, send them to Japan, to China, to do some 3 months, 4 months refresher courses, and then they will come back and be doing the magic. Meanwhile, a first-class material in mechanical engineering is still carrying his files, looking for jobs, looking for government positions, ready to do anything. Some of them are even working in the banks. You can see the problem. And the solution to that problem, which I believe this new administration is going to address, is simple: to bring the marketplace into the institutions of learning and take the institutions of learning to the marketplace. Bring the marketplace into the institutions of learning and take the institutions of learning to the marketplace. You bridge the gap. Because most of the things we are learning in the universities, in the polytechnics, in the colleges of education and all of that are more of theories than practicals. So we need to bridge that gap by bringing, having partnership with the private sector. There is nothing wrong with a faculty of engineering partnering with a motorcycle manufacturing company, generator manufacturing company, both here in Nigeria or outside this country. You sign the partnership deal such that the activities of the industries can be reflected in your curriculum, can be reflected in your timetable, can be reflected in the day-to-day running of your institution. And there is nothing also wrong with a university building an institute in the mechanic village, such that students can go there, teach the mechanics the theory, while the mechanics will teach them the practicals. Very, very important. How can you be a graduate of electrical and electronics, engineering, and you've never seen ordinary cable to know which cable is 2 millimeter, 3 millimeter, and so on and so forth? How can a graduate of chemical engineering not be able to know and see what it takes to produce fertilizer, even to see the chemicals that make up cement, or the mineral resources that can be transformed to form cement? So that's the irony, and it is not like this overseas. In September last year, I visited a company somewhere in Eastern Europe, and I saw that company, the name is Multiply. They produce aeroplanes, and there is a university, I think the University of Dunavaros, which is also somewhere in Eastern Europe, having permanent partnership with Multiply. And that partnership translates to, students, is reflected in their timetable, such that, the students of the Faculty of Engineering, they do their, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they're in class. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, they are in the factory working. And so before such a student will graduate, he's already experienced. There's no need for saying we need somebody with 7 years experience. Because we are saying that in Nigeria because our students are not exposed to what the nitty-gritties of what is happening in the industry where they belong. You are reading accounting, and you are not partnering with an accounting firm where you are learning the practical. You are reading law, and you are waiting to, first of all, go to law school before you go to, learn from the chambers. There should be permanent partnership between the departments, the faculties, and the very industry that they are they are learning their procedures, their practicals, and all of that. So that is what it means to bridge the gap. We bridge the gap by linking entrepreneurship with scholarship. There should be intermarriage between entrepreneurship and scholarship. So it is not about saying I'm an academic, I don't do business. No. Academics should be able to research and proffer solutions to business challenges. And so that is what we need in our universities. There shouldn't be this, we must do away with this mentality of I am a civil servant, I am not in business. No. There must be entrepreneurial spirit in every civil servant that enables that civil servant to run the ministry, to run your job as if you are the owner. Otherwise, why should we have an institution or an organization that is as big as hiring or employing about 500 to 1,000 workers, and they are going on strike because there is no money to pay them and they are not generating anything? I mean, how can we really, how do we feel to have a business that keeps employing people? I don't know how we run, public enterprises. And that is why some people today believe that government have no business in business. It shouldn't be so. There is need for attitudinal change towards the public sector, and that attitudinal change can only materialize when there is partnership between the public sector and the private sector. And so our institutions, both in the primary, the secondary, the tertiary, must have direct linkage, direct partnership with the private sector, where there will be sharing of knowledge. Otherwise, today, the richest people in the world, are not the most educated people of the world. I say it again, check any society. The richest people in that society are not really the most educated people in the society. The reason being that we are yet to bridge the gap between learning and earning. We are yet to bridge the gap between scholarship and entrepreneurship. It is important that we bridge that gap. And I believe that now we have gotten it right by electing and getting a governor that believes in the private sector, a governor that is such an enterprising young man, a governor that believes in bridging this gap. And we can only get better. And I believe that if we give His Excellency Right Honorable Francis Ogbonnawifuru all our support by change of mindset, by doing the right things, by engaging in this kind of partnership that I've mentioned, Ebonyi State will become the hub of business and the hub of prosperity. We go on a very short break. I'll be back. Remember, I remain your brother Henry Nduka Aworego.
Are you ready?
Welcome back. Remember, we are still on bridging the gap between learning and earning. Bridging the gap between learning and earning. And we have said that it is important to bridge that gap. And one step we have mentioned is very practical. And that is to take the institutions of learning to the marketplace and take the marketplace to the institutions of learning. And we have explained that it is important to do that and to have permanent partnership between the institutions and the marketplace. When I talk about the marketplace, I'm talking about the industries. I'm talking about the private sector. I'm talking about the business firms that are already operating on those things that you are learning in school. Whether you are in the university or in the polytechnic or in the college of education. I mean, students of the colleges of education should be partnering with schools. They must be going to classes. Their curriculum must reflect, their timetable should be such that they should have practical teachings. No, they shouldn't wait until when they go for teaching practice. I mean, we should be intentional this time around. There are so many things to do to get our state working, and those things are very doable. And I believe that a progressive-minded governor like His Excellency Right Honorable Francis Ogbonnawifuru will drive this change. All I'm asking Ebonyans is to cooperate with this governor. This governor means well for Ebonyi State, and I know that very soon, in few days from now, you start seeing some of his policy direction. I pray that our people will be patient enough to key in. It's not always easy to drive a change, but the end of that change will be, full of pleasure. I mean, it is not easy to drive change, but the only thing that does not change is change itself. And someone said that if you refuse to change, you will end in chains. If you refuse to change, you end in chains. Those chains may be chains of poverty, chains of retrogression, chains of backwardness, chains of mediocrity. And that needs to change. And a leader is the one who knows the way, who goes the way, and who shows the way. Now we have a new leader in Ebonyi State. He knows the way, he's been going that way, and he is ready to show us that way. May we be patient enough to follow the way and the direction that this new administration is bringing, on the table. The next strategy of bridging the gap between learning and earning is what we are very familiar with, which is changing the mentality of consumption to production. You see, a lot of us are too conscious of what we get immediately, not what we do to get what we want to get. A lot of people are ready for sharing and not for production. And production is very, very critical if we are to develop. If we are ready to develop, then there must be that willingness, that commitment to productivity. And I pray that Ebonians from all walks of life will be ready to adapt into the concept of productivity. Productivity in managing resources, productivity in managing our time, productivity in, because we're talking about bridging the gap. The gap is there. All we need is to bridge that gap. So there must be change of mindset. Change of mindset. So management. How do we manage our time? How do we manage our resources? How do we manage people? People. Very, very important. Because you cannot be productive without people. And so you must know how to manage them. You must know how to coordinate. You must know how to use what God has given to us in form of natural resources. Ebonyi is blessed. Ebonyi is blessed with human resources. All we need is who to manage. And so any position we find ourselves, we must be ready to learn the art and science of managing people. We should also know how to set goals. Very important. And how to plan. Someone said, if you fail to plan, you have planned to fail. And so we have to help the government. First of all, know what is the plan of the government. And then you as a person must now align your plan with the government. It's just like what happened some years ago when in some states, Okada riding was banned. And because some people were ignorant of that plan to ban Okada riding, some importers were busy importing huge containers of motorcycles, only for Okada to be banned as their goods were still in the wharf. And so that was a very huge loss because nobody was coming to buy those motorcycles. So you must be keen to know where and what the government is doing or planning to do so that you can align your own plan with the plan of the government. And so in this WealthLink Radio program today, we want our listeners to increase in productivity, and you cannot increase in productivity when you are not a good planner. And then beyond planning, because planning is how to do what you want to do, but then before you plan, you must have a goal, and that goal is what you want to achieve. What you want to achieve, that is the goal. How to achieve it is the plan. And so all of them are critical elements of productivity. And our prayer is that Ebonians will be productive. Ebonians will support the government to increase our GDP, to increase our IGR, and then to attract foreign direct investment, because the people must be productive for foreigners to come to invest in the land. If the land is full of people who are not productive, people who are only to eat, drink, then it will scare away investors. Investors want to hear that Ebonians are hardworking people, and surely and truly we are hardworking people. But then we must work according to plan. We must work productively. Productivity is different from hard work. Productivity is more of smart work, working with smart tools, working with technology, working with current strategies and techniques that will engender and provoke productivity. Very important. And I want to believe that with the support of the government, our institutions, our civil service system, our private sector, the markets will key into the productive and progressive plan that God has for Ebonyi State. I want to end our broadcast here today by once again wishing Ebonians well, praying that this administration will bring solution to the challenges that face Ebonyi State today. And I want to say that together we shall make it, and God alone will be glorified. Thank you for your listening attention. I remain your own brother, Henry Ndoka Aworego, the Director General and CEO Scholars Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Till next episode, I love you.